Welcome to another museum moment with Jewish Museum Milwaukee. Today we have a special supersized Jewish museum moment because we are welcoming not one, not two, but three guests to talk about the formation and 125-year history of the National Council of Jewish Women, an organization that has been committed to social service and progressive policy in the city, the state, and beyond for over a century. And they've put together a whole huge history of NCJW, and of course, Corona hit. And so now it's kind of a 2-year, 125-year celebration. So we are delighted to be able to share this wonderful community history. And it's my pleasure to invite Sue Strait and Robyn Eiseman and Barbara Levin into our studio today to talk about what NCJW has meant to them. So welcome, ladies, to Jewish Museum Milwaukee's Museum Moment. And get us kicked off here. Why did NCJW form, and what were the initial activities that the organization took on?
All right, well, I'll take that one. I'm actually going to read you something because this is a really amazing story of how everything began. And I want to make sure I get it right. So in 1893, when Hannah G. Solomon of Chicago was asked to organize the participation of Jewish women in the Chicago's World Fair, Solomon and her recruits discovered that participation was not substantive. Instead, they were asking her to pour coffee and some other hostess duties. So they walked out when they were asked to do that. And Solomon took matters into her own hands, building on the courageous action and volunteer work she had been leading for years. By the end of the World's Fair, Solomon and the accompanying delegate body of women had founded the National Council of Jewish Women. Inspired by Jewish values, NCJW works to improve the lives of the most vulnerable women, children, and families in the US and in Israel. So then we turned to Milwaukee. 2 years later, we started our section. Today, we are about 250 members, most of whom are life members for us. And we're unique here in Milwaukee that we have no paid staff. We're entirely volunteer, so we can determine the work we do at the local level. We're progressive. Oh, there it is. So that picture, I'm going to hop in. That picture is one of our board meetings, I think a year or two, probably a couple of years ago at this point. And so that's our board. Again, we're all volunteer. And the important thing to know is that we're progressive. We are justice-minded, but we are nonpartisan, which really means we work on issues and not talk about and focus on individuals. We're inclusive, we're open to men and women and people of all faiths. And our members vary. We have some who support us financially, and that's their sole endeavor. We have others who join us for our curated advocacy opportunities. And then we have many who love to just work on the ground social justice work with families and children. So as Ellie said, 125 years, right? We decided it's time to celebrate. This is pretty monumental for us. So we, the last few months, all through the pandemic, have rolled up our sleeves and said, what are we going to do? And Sue has been incredible, digging into our archives and really done a tremendous job along with a committee to learn and to grow and see where we're going to go. So we want to celebrate who we are, where we've been, certainly where we're going. But I'm going to turn it over to Sue because she can share with us some of the incredible work that she's done and the information she's dug up. So Sue, I'll pass it to you.
As a way of kind of framing this, how do you see in this kind of research that you've done, what was the mission and how has it evolved over 125 years? And how did the council kind of decide on priorities and continue those priorities?
And how the heck are we doing anything right now? Who knows? But historically, our missions actually pretty much remained the same over the past 125 years. Obviously, from this slide, it looks a little different now. I don't know, we would say that we're giving kindly help, but back in 1920s, that's what we did. We continue to prioritize our advocacy work to improve the lives of women, children, and families. Our first projects in Milwaukee focused on settling the new arrivals, immigrants from Eastern Europe that came here to find a better life. The beginning effort to help refugees has grown over the years, and NCJW is still in the forefront of efforts to welcome and settle our refugees. Further along in the 1930s, as another wave of refugees fled Eastern Europe during and after the war, NCJW partnered with Jewish Family Services and Jewish Vocational Services to develop a comprehensive immigrant aid program that cared for the newcomers and helped ready them for the work market. Here's a photo of one of the areas, the Council Work Adjustment Center, where newly arrived immigrants would come in and be trained. In the 1980s, we rallied to free Soviet Jews, and we worked to settle those same Jews in Milwaukee's Jewish community. 2 years ago, we partnered with Shalom Baby to sponsor a refugee baby shower to provide needed layette items to newly arrived immigrants. And here's a photo of the great group that we got together to gather all the baby items. Now that we don't have babies anymore, it was really very fun to get all of the layette together.
So interesting that you're looking at 3 different time periods, 3 totally different immigrant groups, and yet you're still providing that kind of same sense of support and love in a lot of ways.
I think the headline might not say that we are treating the immigrant groups kindly, but we certainly do help when we can. And as far as refugees coming here now, they can expect to be advocated for and supported by us. We still do a big blanket making get together every year, and we create blankets for children and families who are in local shelters. So, along with refugees, we've also focused on education big time. In the middle of the century, our section identified a need in our public schools. Kids weren't being exposed to live theater or the arts. A trooping theater of NCJW actors was created that staged live plays for area high school kids. Younger NCJW members, who were called councillettes, worked on social services projects right alongside them. And here's a photo of our trooping group of actors, the talent from NCJW, that are performing in a play called Two Pails of Water. After the trooping theater kind of graduated out, we put together a program with the Milwaukee Jewish Council for Community Relations called Hello Israel. And that program brought Israel to life for elementary grades in the Milwaukee public schools. Many NCJW members have also taken part in literacy projects citywide, and we've taped book readings for the sight impaired. All of these educational projects were made possible by funding that was raised from our local thrift shop, then called the Encore Shop. Here's a photo of the thrift shop on Fond du Lac Avenue. It was run by our section volunteers from 1938 until 1982. And an amazing fact is that women who donated their clothing and household goods to the thrift shop for sale were celebrated every year at an angel ball. And that was the social event of the season.
I so wish I could go to this thrift shop. It looks amazing.
Yes, absolutely. And you had stuff from NCJW members, so you know it was good quality thrift shop finds. More recently, our section wrote, published, and distributed special booklets that helped teenagers navigate emotional and health issues, beginning with our RAFT, Resource Agencies for Teens. Beginning with our RAFT booklet, Resource Agencies for Teens, in the 1980s, and then the Youth Yellow Pages in 1999. These were researched and assembled as help guides that before the internet put everything at the kids' fingertips. 21 years ago, we helped initiate the HIPPY program, an acronym for the Home Instruction Program for Parents of Preschool Youngsters. The HIPPY program addresses literacy and engages over 400 families with books and teaching materials that help the parents and children of underserved families. Under the guidance of our HIPPY Vice President, Margie Margolis, our section supports the parent partners, as well as helping to coordinate monthly family gathering nights with COA youth and family centers. Okay, next.
I think HIPPY is just such one of those programs that really ties not just NCJW from a Jewish community standpoint, but it is, help generations of families really figure out what it means to be parents. And so it's such an impressive achievement and shows kind of that public-private partnership. I mean, there's Israeli roots. It's big. We're going to have to go and have a whole section on hippie someday.
We would love to, and certainly we've got adorable pictures of children, so hang in there. Okay, Robyn.
In terms of, NCJW continues to bring new generations of women into this program to revitalize itself. And I think one of the things that makes it a really attractive organization is just how accessible it is. And the fact that it is volunteer led, that you guys are taking the lead. Robyn, can you tell me what the vision is in this crazy moment and what being a women's organization in 2020, or actually anytime in the last, let's go 4 years, what that's meant and how that's shifted and what you guys have been up to?
Absolutely. I think the coolest thing about NCJW is that our priorities are still, they remain the same, as you mentioned before, Ellie. Sue just shared about immigration and refugees and education, and we're still doing those things today, 125 years later. We're also ensuring voting rights and ensuring a fair and independent judiciary is something that's super important to our section. Way back in 1918, we took part in women's suffrage, and we continue to push legislation today that ensures the right of every person to vote. Our national has rolled out a program called PTV, which is Promote the Vote, Protect the Vote. And we chose a chair in our section who is Lee Wallace. And she's kind of led us for the last, probably 10 months. Each month she meets with her group, her cohort, and comes up with a plan. And we subsequently, as a section, came up with a plan, and everybody's holding up their plans. And we mailed it to our entire membership and used this as a social platform to promote voting, to really be intentional about your plan. And we rolled it out way before, like probably 2 months before the deadline, just so that people knew and were intentional about their plan to vote. So that is some of our work. More of our work, there we go. We are very advocacy based, as we've mentioned over and over again. We focus a lot on engagement and national issues. The coolest thing, another cool thing about our section is that we are part of we're part of NCJW Inc. And NCJW Inc. strengthens us. They give us hands-on training, they give us webinars, and especially during this time where we're all kind of trapped in our homes, they've been amazing. And it's some of the really neat things that have happened are we've been open to other sections programming. So I participated in a women's Seder that was, I think, done by the Miami section, got to meet all the people there, and everything's open. Absolutely every webinar, so many opportunities are open for us right now, which is really neat and exciting because we're all at home looking for ways to get involved. One benefit, like I mentioned, of joining our local section is you become a member of national section. There is no national membership, so you're open to everything. You'll get information on webinars and information on networking. And we also partner with local organizations here in our community. That's part of our mission. And what you're seeing here is an advocacy fair, and this is Party Kalika speaking. And we invited 6 local organizations to participate, and it was open to the public, and it was at the Shorewood Library. Unfortunately, it was a snowstorm that night. It was October 31st, and we got a lot of snow, so attendance was a little lower, but it was a fabulous program.
Still looks like a great attendance, and in the world of Corona, you're like, look at how many people are in a room together. Oh my.
I know, no masks, and there we are, not 6 feet apart, but it was a great program. And the neatest thing about the program is every single group that was there, from Planned Parenthood, we had all different groups, to moms. They were all saying the neatest part was everybody got to know everybody, and everybody got to talk about their missions and share. They say very seldom do we get to do that in one room. So that was a really neat opportunity for us. Some of our other things that we've done in 2017, after Trump's inauguration, we took a bus and did a women's march on Madison. So that's us at the march. And then if you go to the next slide, there we go. This is our Advocacy Arts program that we had at St. Kate's last fall. Gosh, it feels like a million years ago. And there we are, we do a lot of signing petitions, a lot of hands-on things. We give our members a lot of opportunities to do things. We provide the tools and the resources for them to get involved. And so there is someone, I believe that's Karen Rakeham, signing a petition for us. And if you go to the next, there we go. Recently, we did a Circle the Court. It was a ritual for RBG, and there was a bunch of us that marched around the courthouse, and we partnered with Shir Hadash for this program. We also had the opportunity to do the program virtually. So we had the virtual program first, and then we did the live program. So we kind of appealed to those that felt comfortable being live and those that felt more comfortable staying at home. So we were really proud of that program. The attendance was great, and it gave everybody an opportunity to participate. I think we have more slides coming. There we go. Our hope is that we're a conduit to action in our community here in Milwaukee. And young people are so busy right now, and they want to get involved in our community, and they need a clearinghouse of opportunities. They need to know how to make a difference. And sometimes they don't have the time to look. So they're coming to us and saying, how can we make a difference in our community? And we invite anybody and everybody to join us. We're a really fun bunch. As we celebrate our 125th year, or years, as you mentioned, Ellie, COVID threw a big wrench in our plans. We had planned to have a big fall event honoring Andrea Schneider. We selected her as our honoree because she aligns very much with our work, and her work on the Institute for Women's Leadership just seemed like a perfect collaboration for us. So while we were planning this, like I mentioned, we got kind of thrown off path with COVID. So we've taken it virtually, and we've done a whole bunch of things. We did an interview with the Chronicle, and you were so gracious to invite us to your museum moment, which we're really excited about. And we're just trying to make ourselves visible socially on social media, and trying to connect in all the ways that we can to celebrate our 125 years.
Since this is our Thanksgiving special episode, I want to give thanks for all the work that you've done. I think one of the things that NCJW is brilliant at is giving people tools about how to be politically engaged in their community. And I think it's a real challenge, to say you see a big problem and you're like, but I don't know how to take on immigrant rights, or I don't know what to do about voting systems. And then you guys provide that kind of toolbox. And that toolbox has been provided and shifted and changed for 125 years. So I think it's really a magical thing that there is a group that has said, you know what, we're going to take people and help them find their political footing and make them understand how their voices can be heard. And then provide a group catalyst too, which is even more powerful. So thank you for all of the work you guys have done. And thank you, so Barb and Robyn, for your leadership right now in this very challenging time as the co-presidents. And Sue, thank you so much for doing the heavy lifting of research, which we all know is a bear and one of my favorite things to do, but also never an easy thing to compile 125 years into kind of reasonable chunks. While I'm giving thanks, I need to, as always, thank our supporters, and especially Robyn Cohen, who makes these museum moments possible. And if you want to learn more about NCJW, their website is, or their Facebook group, what is it, ladies?
Ours?
Yes.
So either ncjwmke.org, or by all means, yes, and then Facebook, NCJW Milwaukee, I think is what
which
you would.
Will be tagged in this video, so you can just link straight away from our conversation here. If you want more information about Jewish Museum Milwaukee, you can find it at jewishmuseummilwaukee.org. Thank you all. We will not be having a museum moment on Thursday, but I think you'll have plenty of other things to do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Ellie.
so much, Ellie. We really appreciate your help in spreading the word about our big anniversary.
Yeah, thank you, Ellie. We'll all give thanks for being here and being able to do what we want to do.